TNA Wrestling crosses that line again as we head closer to Bound for Glory, but there is a huge bump in that road as this coming Tuesday, it's TNA, it's NXT, it's the showdown, what we've been very much looking forward to and what has been happening over the last few weeks culminates this coming Tuesday on the CW with NXT versus TNA. We'll get into all of that. And in fact, we'll get into that straight away because this week the teams were drawn for NXT and TNA showdown. There is going to be 4 matches on NXT this week, all have massive implications, including the Hardys will be going defending their tag team championships against the NXT tag team champions, Dark State. And furthermore, everybody will be banned from ringside for that match. One team will hold both NXT and TNA tag team championships after that show on Tuesday. That will also have implications to the Hardys and the Dudleys match at Bound for Glory because should Dark State win, the Hardy Boys will not be defending the TNA Tag Team Championships at Bound for Glory in the tables match. Also, this week on NXT, the huge return of Mustafa Ali from Order 4. He's obviously got a big match coming up at Bound for Glory in the Hardcore War. But before we get there, he takes on Ethan Page for the NXT North American Championship. That is a huge, huge encounter. But of course, it's going to be headlined by 2 4-on-4 elimination matches. First elimination matches, the women. It's going to be Jacy Jane, Jada Parker, Sol Ruka, and Lola Vice from NXT. They'll be taking on Kalani Jordan, the TNA Knockouts champion, of course, who's NXT though. It's a weird one. Myra Sade, who's going to have a point to prove to WWE on that one, and the new Knockouts Tag Team Champions, the Inspiration, Jessica McKay and Cassie Lee, winning the gold on Impact. This went to Impact main event, which was a great main event, by the way, with the Elegance brand. There was a slight miscommunication, champagne in the eyes of the Elegance brand cost them the Knockouts Championship. But congratulations, of course, to the Inspiration who pick up the inspiring victory on Impact this week. And of course, the men's 4-on-4 elimination Survivor Series style match. Team NXT, Ricky Saints and the TNA the TNA is the TNA heavy. He is the NXT heavyweight champion, Ricky Saints, at the TNA heavyweight champion, Trick Williams, Jevon Evans, and Miles Bourne will collide against Mike Santana, Frankie Kazarian, the new international champion, Moose, and Leon Slater. There you go. They're going to be two incredible Survivor Series style matches. We'll cover NXT TNA Invasion as well. This coming Monday, we're going to be sitting down with another TNA star ahead of Bound for Glory, which of course you can watch on TNA Plus app. Don't get it downloaded, get it subscribed, and make sure you watch Bound for Glory next Sunday, the 12th of October. We're looking forward to it. I hope you all are too. But back to the action on TNA this week. We started with Matt Hardy, Leon Slater, Indy Hartwell against Trick Williams, Frankie Kazarian, and Kalani Jordan. Mike Santana was on commentary. They did have a no physicality rule between those two. That goes out the window. This all started because of the King's speech. He did indeed bring out Frankie Kazarian, that is, bring out Kalani Jordan, called her victory a fluke. It wasn't kind of boding well between him, Trick Williams as well. And they had a lot of to-dos, and it led to the Hardys coming out, or Matt Hardy. Anyway, don't forget we're in Canada, so Jeff Hardy couldn't be there. Leon Slater, and of course Indy Hartwell, who will go against Kalani Jordan at Bound for Glory. They had a great little 6-person. I think, if anything, the King's speech went a little long, and by the time that had finished, and then you had the 6-person, it was just that little bit too long, in my opinion. The match was great, by the way, nothing wrong with the match, but I just think the whole segment into the match was just a little too long. Leon Slater picking up the victory with a Swanton 450 on Kaz, I might add. And yeah, Trick and Santana did indeed have a brawl as well. And then Tommy Dreamer brought out the TNA roster and basically just hyped them up ahead of NXT's match Tuesday. With they're going to take NXT to the extreme. Jesus, can they do any more on this show? It's going to be an incredible show Tuesday on the CW. We didn't really get much of an update on Ash by Elegance, only that it's obviously an injury that they're not disclosing. She's stepping away from in-ring action. We hope Ash is very well gets better soon. We don't even know what the issue is. Could be a scary one. So keep Ash in your thoughts, of course. This week we saw the debut of the well, not the debut, but the I think it's a tag team debut of the Angel Warriors, Zia Lee, I was going to say then, Laying Lee, and Zia Brookside. They were going against Ava Lawless and Kate Von Hees, I believe. This was pretty short and sweet. You knew who was going to win this match. Lee and Brookside, with their finish, picked up the victory on this. Heaven Saint, I think they called it, or Heaven Sent. A good match. Look, I think better things to come from both of those. We'll see more of those. I think now it's time to get Bound for Glory done and dusted, not in a bad way, but just so we can then kind of hit that reset button and start again with TNA. In an update though to the TNA media rights deal, Carlos Silva was speaking, and he seems to think that they're going to be locked in next year. They are talking to a major streamer and television distribution deal that will go live for what he said most weeks. Now that is huge for TNA. Going live is something that they really, really need, and to have that happen, it'd be something that is going to be tremendous. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully that going live in the 2026, and they can really start to push that acceleration button in TNA. And didn't quite say they weren't up for sale though. He did kind of slip in that, look what WWE have done with Triple R, and it's kind of kept it separately, although you're seeing WWE stars on there, but running like a separate brand. And that throws up a few questions as to whether WWE have a more of a financial involvement, or TKO have a bit of a financial involvement in TNA. That's an interesting one. Nevertheless, Joe Hendry next week will go against Eric Young in a no DQ match that was set up by San. Well, actually, it wasn't by Santino. Santino said someone above him set that match up. So interesting. Interesting times. Was a really good video package on the Mike Santana. There was a vignette about Bound for Glory, and Amazing Red made a comeback on this. You're giving him a pep talk, and that he needs to win the TNA Championship, not for TNA, not for his family, for Mike Santana. I totally agree with that, by the way. That was really good. TNA do some great vignettes in this. Really, really do. I really enjoy watching their stuff because they do it so well. More to that anyway. More of those, please, TNA. But it wouldn't be TNA without the hometown man. However, the hometown man's undefeated streak come to an end in his hometown against Nick Nemeth. He hit the danger zone. Was that the right call? I don't know. There's a lot of discussion about this as to whether or not he should have won, kept that undefeated streak going. Who knows? I'm not so sure. I don't know. I'm a bit. Mm, he could have won it by DQ, couldn't he? I suppose potentially, and they still could have done it because it was after the match. The Nemeth were ganging up on him. Cardona come out to make the save. They stopped. They kind of took him down as well. They did. Brian, I think, took the mask off the hometown man again, and they had to run back to save him. So we didn't see who it was. Um, Interesting. Speaking of TNA, Monday on the channel, I think I've mentioned we're sitting down again to just do another TNA exclusive on Monday. Looking very much forward to that ahead of Bound for Glory. So make sure you check that out on the channel. Gia Miller offers out Tessa Blanchard to a match at Bound for Glory, and it is on. Gia Miller, Tessa Blanchard next Sunday at Bound for Glory, does Gia Miller have a death wish, or is she going to beat Tessa Blanchard up? We'll have to see. I'm looking forward to it though. That's going to be interesting. I haven't seen Gia Miller compete before, I must admit. So, well, maybe I have, but I just can't remember. But it's going to be an interesting one. Looking much forward to that one. Tessa Blanchard kind of made fun of it and was going to say that she's going to annihilate Gia Miller, but I don't know about that. I think we're going to have to wait and see at Bound for Glory next Sunday who gets the one-upmanship, shall we say. Speaking of one-upmanship this week, now last week I think it was 1-1 between the System and Order 4. But Order 4 won the most important match, which was the advantage going into the hardcore war at Bound for Glory. But this week, the System picked up a win as Alicia Edwards beat Tasha Steelz with the pedigree, gets the dub, and that sort of kind of puts it in favor of, the System. Again, they brawled at the end of this, and it was crazy. Again, these two teams have been going nuts for the last few weeks and months on Impact, and I very much enjoyed it. I'm going to really enjoy a hardcore war, though. That being said, next week on TNA, JDC and Mustafa Ali, Order 4 in the System again. Leon Slater's going to call out Jevon Evans, his opponent at Bound for Glory. Jesus. Matt Cardona, Ryan Nemeth, Trick Williams will appear, and EY and Joe Hendry go no DQ. Now, I have mentioned, of course, already that the Inspiration did win those knockout tag team championships to end Impact this week in a really, really great match. I really enjoyed it. It was good to see the Inspiration. A lot of people saying it should have waited till Bound for Glory, and I can understand that, but I also think with the showdown coming up this week, they needed that. I don't want to say star power because that's not really fair, but they just needed to have them having the gold, I think, at least for that as well. But really strong showing on TNA this week. Looking very much forward to the showdown next Tuesday, TNA Impact next Thursday, and of course, the big one, Bound for Glory, next Sunday, I may add. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens on Impact this week. But Showdown is first. This Tuesday on the CW, NXT, TNA Showdown. Make sure you watch that. Make sure you watch TNA next week as well on TNA Plus and get Bound for Glory next Sunday. It's going to be loud and proud as well as they get near 7,000 seats. Well, I think they're up to 5 or 6,000 seats sold already. Get there, be a part of it if it's in your area. Download TNA Plus and get it. It is a great time to be a fan of TNA wrestling. It was short, it was sweet this week, but we'll be back next week with a double, triple, really a lot of TNA. Do not miss it. And from me and from everybody else, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.